MOVA recently released funding awards to 124 programs that provide free services across the Commonwealth. These services are for survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, homicide, human trafficking, child abuse, and so many individuals whose lives have been turned upside down by violence. At a time when the survivors need your help the most, our awards had an average 22% reduction in funding from last year's amounts. We know the impact is on personnel that provide these critical services. It's on the funding that you use to help support survivors in an emergency, helping them stay in their homes, get a T-pass to come to get counseling or a group, or to provide them support for childcare. Throughout our review, we have worked to prioritize the opportunity to maintain personnel, maintain these staff at the front lines and providing direct services that are available to meet survivors when they need it. I want you to know, all of our programs, that the value of your award doesn't for a minute speak to the value of your work, the value that we place on it, or the value that survivors place on it. The current state of our funding is unacceptable. We're committed to finding a solution. What happens next is dependent on the state legislature's action between now and July. As many of you know, MOVA has been leading advocacy for the VOCA bridge over the last several months to secure one-time funding to help us get past this gap in available federal funding. We're calling on the legislature to ask them to fully fund the VOCA bridge to support survivors and stabilize these critical victim services throughout the Commonwealth and ensure that they're available to survivors. Should the state funding become available, we're ready from an administrative standpoint to work with you to adjust your budgets, to get funding back up to reasonable levels so that you can continue to provide the amazing services that you have provided survivors day in and day out. To all the survivors, programs, agencies, and friends that have been reaching out to your legislators and telling them about the impact these cuts are going to have on your work, thank you. Our advocacy doesn't work without your critical voices being in this conversation, talking about the impact at the local level. We can't do this without you. Thank you for your advocacy, and thank you for all the work you do day in and day out on behalf of survivors of crime in Massachusetts.